Hello everyone, from Life and Wellness with Sine. My name is Nesipho Ngaluza, mostly known as Usine, and I am the host of the channel. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you so much for watching. I hope you do subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for watching. I hope you actually love the video. So today is very exciting because I have a guest. Okay, to give you guys a background story, I had this idea to have a YouTube series whereby I'll be having conversations with people that I admire, people that I look up to, people that I think are movers and shakers, people with very interesting life stories that I think they should be told, and I think a lot of people would learn from them. So today is exciting because I have my very first guest on the YouTube channel and my very first guest for this series, which I call Life is a Story. Her name is Lona Thomas. She's a very beautiful young woman. She's an entrepreneur. I can say she's a wellness bunny, if I may say so. I won't do much introduction. I will allow the questions to introduce her properly. But I'm going to tell you this. Lona is someone that I've seen around, someone we once stayed at the same res. She made her mark, because you see people and when you met them, they make their mark, and sometimes you won't personally know them, sometimes you will ever even forget them, but you will never forget how they make you feel. And Lona made her mark on me. We had this women's seminar, I'm not sure if you remember, but at Ray's, it was a high tea, it was for Women's Day. She was invited as a guest speaker there. Oh my gosh, that was the first time I had her speak. I'm not sure if it's something that you do regularly, but she was oozing wisdom there, and she had this confidence. She was just spitting facts. Okay, Ulona, it was amazing, and I just knew from then that I would like to have a conversation with her. And then when I got to the socials, I researched her, and then boom, she's an entrepreneur now, and I'm just excited to have this conversation, guys. Please welcome Lona Thomas. Hi Lona, how are you?
I am good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I'm glad that my wish has come through. I have a lot of questions to ask you because I'm excited, but I think we should start, because the series says life is a story. I think we should start from the beginning of your story. But firstly, you said you do motivational speaking regularly. Is it like a career thing or a hobby?
First of all, let me start by actually telling you that you have made me feel some type of way. I walked in here feeling confident, like, no, I'm gonna smash this interview. Now you're making me feel all mushy, because I never really know the impact of what comes out of my mouth has on other people, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
And to know that I ignited something in you to that extent, it's making me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Motivational speaking is not something that I could put in my bio as something that I really do. I guess you never really know the impact that you have on people up until they ask you to come and impart something in them. So indirectly, it happens. And like I said before the interview, I prefer being behind the scenes, being the one that operates the camera.
Yeah.
But I always find myself in front of the camera, in front of people, speaking about my life experiences, speaking about things that caused a paradigm shift in my own life that I feel that other people need to learn from. So, yeah.
So my first official question will be, starting from the background now, where are you from? And how has been your childhood growing up? Where you from?
Oh, I'm from Queenstown. I was born there. My mother had me young, So I was raised by my beloved grandmother, of which one of my companies is named after, Makwena Media. Because she's a Sotho lady. I was raised alongside my cousins, but as black people, we call them our siblings, the brothers and sisters. And I could say my childhood was quite flavorful, given that my grandmother was so strict. But I owe my entire being to her. I went to Balmoral Girls Primary School, my primary school. It's one of what is deemed the best schools in Queenstown. From there, went to Girls High School. From there, studied architectural drafting in Pretoria. But I saw that, no, this is not where my passion is. 2012, I took a gap year. 2013, I was accepted for architectural technology at then NMMU, but now NMU. And I reapplied close to the end of 2012 for public relations management because I felt that with PR, I am not confined to anything. I can be the communications liaison, PR, media liaison for any organization across all sectors. But I always had a vision of having a brand management company, because I felt that a lot of brands are miscommunicating their messages and they are not articulately communicating what their brand is about to their target market. So when I graduated from that in 2016, I enrolled for a then BTech. I think it's called an advanced diploma now.
Yes.
In public relations, but I unfortunately couldn't finish that qualification because I went through a very traumatic experience in 2016, one of many. And it affected my academics, and I was working at the same time, so I chose to just balance one rather than juggling both of them. Come 2017, I stopped working at the School of Accounting at NMMU. I started working for an ICT company, a company that does ICT events amongst many other things that it has. So I was the content manager for an ICT company, from School of Accounting to ICT. But things didn't go well in that company. It was a very toxic work environment. And sometimes as a person, although the paycheck is good, you just need to know when to go. Unfortunately, I did not have a backup plan, but I decided to resign and focus entirely on my business, which is Makwena Media, where I do photography, graphic design, communication, events, anything under public relations and marketing. But that was not a choice. It was more of me not wanting to be complacent and accept that there's no employment, I'm not getting employment, but rather get off, I almost put it another way, but get off my bum and make something happen for myself, because no one is going to come to you and save you. You need to get out of your own way and save yourself. That's pretty much it, amongst many other things.
Lona has answered like 5 to 10 of my questions with only one question.
Sorry.
But thank you. So please take me back to Queenstown. Tell me a moment which best describes how it's like growing up there.
Man, Queenstown is a small town that is surrounded by villages and mountains, which makes it a very bitterly cold place. I remember 2011. I was still studying in Pretoria, but I went back home, and my younger sister, who's now 13, got infected with mumps. I mean, it's common with children. Me being prone to having tonsillitis, I caught the mumps, tonsillitis joined the party, and I woke up one day and I literally looked like a toad. So during that time it was bitterly cold because it was in August, but it was uncommon to be that cold because August is usually the month of where there's a lot of wind and we are easing out of the winter season. The day I got admitted in hospital, it started snowing in Queenstown. That did not make my recovery any easier. I got even more sick, got pumped with antibiotics and all of that.
It was a mess.
Then I got an ulcer after that. So in Queenstown, all I can say to you is that it is very cold. But what I can tell you, apart from that rather funny story, because it's funny now, is that the people in Queenstown are very simple people. Very simple people that are stuck in their ways, because I did say it's surrounded by villages.
Yes.
And development is quite slow, but it's picking up now. My childhood was much nicer than how my sister's childhood is going right now.
Why?
We didn't have the exposure that they have to social media and cell phones. We played
Outside.
At 13, believe it or
not,
I was a tomboy,
ne?
Right? So I enjoyed playing outside with the boys and all. There's no cell phone. In fact, my first cell phone was a Siemens 835. And that little aerial that looked like a thumb, it would stick out of my pocket. That is as good as I got to a cell phone. But now there is too much external stimulation that affects how children relate to each other. And it's sometimes brutal. And I'm noticing that children nowadays are very sensitive. We were not sensitive. You fall, you graze your knee, you get back up and you continue playing. But now you fall, you graze your knee, it's the end of the world.
You want all the attention.
Exactly. So my childhood was amazing, but I think being raised by my grandmother made it all the more colorful.
Okay, that's wonderful. How old is your grandmother now?
My grandmother is turning 87 on Christmas. Yes.
Me. Christmas baby girl.
Yes.
Okay, so Lona, you say that you went from high school, and then you went to Pretoria. Is it Pretoria? And then you went to Nelson Mandela University. There's this debate that people are having now. There's this saying, firstly, that says education is the key to success. And then there's this debate now that people are having that because they don't have jobs, and there's a lot of graduates that are not employed, and they're saying they've wasted plus minus 12 years of their lives with getting education only to be unemployed and not to be skilled to face life. So the question is, would you say that education has been the key to your success, or would you say you've also wasted your 12 plus years?
There is no waste in education. Absolutely no waste. And I feel that is a very coward stance to take. Life is a constantly revolving and transforming thing. I don't have a better word. And what made me realize that education is important is that when I graduated from my BA diploma in Public Relations Management and Communication Studies, not a single family member pitched at my graduation. I still don't know why, and I think I've made peace with not knowing why they didn't come. Not even my mother. Please don't cry. Please do not.
But it's sad.
No, it is sad, but although that moment was sad, when it was happening, we're sitting down waiting for to be called out. My friends were excited. Where's your family? I'm like, they're not here. They're like, oh. And then the other one told the other one, and then they're and I'm like, I don't understand why you are throwing hearts at me. But when the ceremony was over, majority of my pictures are with other people's families and not mine. But that moment taught me a very harsh lesson, though. But it taught me that education is a very selfish thing. You are the one that is sitting behind the desk. You are the one that is doing the assignments, having sleepless nights. So no one can ever say, even when you are lying in the coffin 6 feet under the ground, no one can say, no, that's my qualification. No, it's a very selfish thing. And I feel like it has a contribution to a person's self-actualization. Now, regarding the jobs, yes, there are no jobs, but education is something that no one can ever take away from you. I don't think without my public relations qualification, I would have achieved the things that I have achieved. it gives you a sense of confidence and a sense of self, and also establishing who you are, and being very true to that person that you are saying you are. It also serves as setting a standard of the person that you are saying you are, and anyone else who comes into your life, they know the standard that you have set for yourself, what you are expecting from another person, because you've created that standard for yourself. So for people to take that very cowardice stance of saying they have wasted their time, no. Opportunities are always there, but you just need to create that opportunity. You look around you. You look around you, you see where there is some lack, and where what you have can create or make a difference, because that's what I did.
Just to add, sorry if I cut you, just to add them with creating with what you have. I see education, they say it's the key. But here's the thing. Before there's a lock, there should be a door. And before there's a door, there should be a house. And education is only the key. So for people to say they've wasted their years, it's not possible, because you will need the house. The house, meaning that is the other things that you can use to open, which is now the education. Let's say now we are in high school together. 6 years down the line, I'm starting a company, and you've started your CA, you're an accountant, and I need an accountant. And then I ask you, education was that a place where we met?
Yes.
The connections. That's the key. It's supposed to be key. It's not supposed to actually build the building and build the door so that you can open. It's supposed to be key to open. So there's other things that are already supposed to be there for you to actually use education. And just the problem is that people solely depend on e-education. They don't take it as a stepping stone, as a foundation to what they can achieve. For example, I come from a very rural area. To tell you the truth, I would have never known YouTube if I didn't go to varsity. I would have never known I would have never known myself, because I never knew that actually I have a thing for production, film production, this production that we're doing. I have a thing for. I knew when I was young that I loved opera, I loved shows, but I have a thing for shows. And only when I got to varsity and was exposed to things that I knew, but okay, there are other things that I want to do. Yes, so I also believe that it's a coward.
That is actually very true, because when you're in high school, we are all swimming this way.
Yes.
Then we get to university and we go this way. But people fail to understand that at university level, you're meeting different types of people from different walks of life, and those people actually help mold the type of person that you are. When you are in the home, that is your first level of socialization. You are socialized to how you relate to your family members, how you relate to your neighbor, how you relate to the people that are at school, your fellow scholars. But then when you get to university, you are actually socializing yourself to how you relate to other people. And I think I've noticed this in many instances, that the people who miss that opportunity to socialize themselves with other people at university level, they usually don't do very well in the work environment, because they don't have the patience to get to know their fellow colleagues, and that actually affects their performance in the workspace. So the exposure is very necessary. And leaving where you are coming from to go and study in another city also has another impact.
Yes.
Because I know many people that have been born in Port Elizabeth, studied at NMU, they are working in Port Elizabeth, they don't know any other place except for Port Elizabeth. Now an opportunity arises for them to go to another place, they are scared, because they have never given themselves that opportunity to broaden their spectrum and to learn other things and see other people and absorb how those people are and ultimately impact themselves on how they relate to other people. So you made a very valid point.
Okay. So let's get to your work now. Lona has 3 businesses, if I'm right. She has the Mokwena, where she's the photographer and she does all the graphic stuff. And then she has the Mtoga's Kitchen, where she cooks. And then she has the new ginger beer. Do you make it yourself?
Yes, I do.
The homemade by Lona ginger beer. That is the Mtogazi ginger beer. I want to know, where does the name Mtogazi come from? Okay. What does it mean to you?
Oh, it's me. It's my roots. It's sure. We sometimes take ourselves for granted. We fail to acknowledge the fact that for us to be where we are right now, to be in such spaces, there are people that paved the way that came before us. Their ambitions are living through us.
Nice.
Although they are laying tula,
yes.
Their ambitions are living through us. Sometimes we don't understand where we get the spark of an idea and you run with it. You don't know where it comes from, but that is actually an impartation of what they had wanted to do. But because you are part of their bloodline, you have the ability to actually realize them. So Twagazi is my clan name. That's where it comes from.
Yes.
My grandmother Memukwen got married into a Xhosa family. She married Lona Thomas, which was my grandfather. Now I am the daughter of the last born out of 6 children of my grandmother. So I was raised by my grandmother. So which is
you are.
Yes, my mother was not married to my father. So I've taken that clan name. So me putting Twagazi and Mokwena out there is more of me sharing a piece of myself with the world. And I don't want anything to be about me where it's like Lona's thing or whatever, but more of this is what my upbringing has brought forth. This is the type of person that my grandmother has raised. This is the type of daughter my mother has. So it makes me feel proud of myself, but not arrogant in the same breath. So that's actually what it means to me.
That's wonderful. So how did the idea come about of you? Okay, you're not working, you just have the Mokwena company, and then how did you come with this idea to cook for people for a living and form it into a company? And what was the process? Take me through the process.
Process was sad. So people had secured me as a photographer for their weddings, right? Weddings that were happening in March, April, May. I had quite a bit of money put away. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to be good for about 6 months. Then our dear friend COVID came through. I found myself having to refund over 40-something thousand rand to clients. But there was one client that stood out and said, give us back everything, but keep 3,000 rand for yourself because we don't know how long this is going to be. And should this pass, we want to use you again. So take it as sort of like a down payment of sort. Because we don't know what's the worst to come. And the worst did come. Couldn't do photography.
Level 5.
People were not interested in graphic design.
Yes.
Like it was bad. It was bad. And things started to slowly ease, but it was not coming as fast as it should. My grandmother's sister passed away end of July. And I remember on the day of her funeral, I was attending it via Facebook Live. But while I was sitting there, I was like, no, man. There's something that I can do to bring me income. I can cook, I can bake, and for the longest time, cooking and baking had made me money since varsity days, since high school. I used to sell chocolate squares and fudge and muffins in high school. That actually paid for my after party.
So you've always been an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I think I got that from, actually I know I got it from my grandmother. My youngest experience or my earliest experience of entrepreneurship was my grandmother telling me to write on a board, bunch spinach 2 rand 50, and put it on our gate. My grandmother has always been that person who doesn't just sit and relax and wait for the pension or widow's pension to come through at the end of the month. She always used what she had to keep money coming in. And she's the one that actually taught me about entrepreneurship. So Mthokazi's Kitchen came about that way. I literally took a notepad and I was like, catering services, private catering services. That's what I did. After the funeral, I just sat and I thought, okay, I'm going to need a name. What kind of food am I going to do? What I can't cook is something that I have not tried to cook. So I was like, okay, let me try maybe with buckets of muffins and scones. And I was like, no. You can actually make full meals, pre-packed full meals, and deliver them to funerals. That's how Mthokazi's Kitchen came about. At that time, it was just pocket money so that I can pay for rent and all. But it ended up being something big, much more. Found myself having to cater for funerals of 150 people.
Really?
And it was overwhelming at first. And I've had my first mess up. And I have not stopped ever since then. I did not want to register it, but I found myself having to register it because it now took more popularity and was bringing more money than Makwena Media. So now these two companies are codependent. The graphics from Mthokazi's Kitchen are coming from Makwena Media. The money for Makwena Media is coming from Mthokazi's Kitchen, although that is not favorable, but at the moment the two companies are literally coexisting. So yeah, that's how it came about.
And the ginger beer. Okay, firstly, why ginger beer? I mean, I was thinking, maybe it's because you think, okay, now that I've given you food, you will need something to drink. Then I'm like, but you can just make a deal with Coke and you're like, okay, I'm gonna buy some Fantas and Cokes. But why a ginger beer that you make it yourself?
One thing people are going to walk away after they've watched this is that Lona loves her grandmother. Because her grandmother is literally who she is.
Yeah, everything.
Again, I'm going to refer to my childhood. Growing up, our house is situated in the last street, and there is a furrow leading into an open field. At the time, it was an open field. So the government started to build RDP houses. My grandma, I remember that day perfectly. My grandmother kept on looking at these people as they go into work and they leave for work. And she was like, maybe these people need food. Maybe they need something to drink. She started making ginger beer.
Really?
And that ginger beer would fly.
I love your grandmother.
And ginger beer is a very good cure for a hangover. I'm not encouraging people to drink, but it's a good cure for nausea and
fever,
and for fever as well. I am telling you this without even a single gram of a lie. Every single Monday by 10 a.m., ginger beer was already sold out because all those parched, hungover people would come through and buy the ginger beer.
Going to work.
Yes. But my decision to make the ginger beer was me realizing that, okay, I haven't had a catering gig in a while. What will happen when I am injured or I am sick? How is money going to come in? And I sat and I thought of things that I can do, and ginger beer came through.
And sisters.
Those people have my back, and God. So that is when I came about with ginger beer, and it was a very spur of the moment thing. I told my friend Uviwe Kyolwana, we've been friends for 17 years. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna start a ginger beer brand. I'm gonna go look for bottles today, and then I'll get back to you. And she's like, oh, okay, so how are you going to make it? I'm like, I'm going to make it the same way my grandmother made it. In a bucket with the ingredients. I will use a cheesecloth to strain it. I will bottle it and I will sell it to people. She's like, oh, okay, get show me. Like, she was in doubt at that time. Up until 2 days later, this is a process of a week. 2 days later, I send her the label. Mtwakazi's ginger beer.
You create the labels.
I created the label. Mtwakazi's ginger beer, a homemade ginger beer
with love,
a taste of my heritage. That is it. And I over there on the label, I have put there that pretty much with each sip you will be taking a trip down my childhood to my childhood, because this is what helped on some days give me tuck shop money. It is the most frustrating thing because there's nothing that you can do, which is how the ginger beer came about. How am I going to make money if I am sick and I can't cook and I can't do photography and I can't do the other things that I do? So it's really all of those things. But you know, the most important thing is grit. You need to go through the dirt and the mud to really appreciate the fruits of your labor. Yes, the most saddest moments that we experience in our lives are not anything to write home about, but there is always a silver lining. There is always a rainbow at the end of each storm, and the storms will keep coming, but it is you who learns how to deal with them better. Yeah.
Oh, Lona, I'm speechless now. I forgot my questions. Okay, so let's get personal. Oh, before that, someone who's now watching out there, they don't have a job, they've been looking for a job, and they will say to you they don't have a starting point. They have visions that they want to do this, and maybe they want to use their talents, they want to use their passions, but then they don't know like how to start, where to start, what to do. And for someone who's walked the road, what advice would you give to them?
First of all, if you envision yourself to acquire the best things in life, it is not you daydreaming. It is not a mere coincidence. It is what God has set in your path. And what is in your path, no one can stop you except for you. You are going to get in your own way. Number 2, ditch the plan. I have done a lot of things without having a plan. Lando Yoba, you are sitting down, you are doing a business plan. Okay, this is what it's going to do, this is what's going to happen. Ditch it. Sometimes you need to start where you are with what you have. I started Makwana Media without a camera, but I knew that I can borrow someone else's camera. I can teach myself how to edit. I can teach myself how to do graphic design, because majority of the things that I'm doing in Makwana Media, I am self-taught because of my first job mostly, but because I also had the determination to learn. So that's another advice.
That. Determination to learn.
Exactly.
Yes.
Learn a new skill that you feel could contribute to whatever you want to become.
Repeat that. I love that. Repeat that word.
Learn a skill.
Learn a skill.
That skill, meaning something that you can do with your hands.
Your brain and whatever.
That is also going to make you unique and stand out from other people that have your same qualification. That is going to contribute to whatever you want to achieve. You must always do that. I am an advocate of constantly learning to better yourself, to transform yourself continuously, because I think that is the only way that you can become a better human being than you were yesterday.
Yes.
And the third thing, you made me forget it. I'm going to think quickly. The third thing, when you have ditched the plan and you have just started, use what you have. You do not need to have 10,000 rand. I have had no capital to start my businesses, but you start with where you are, what you have, and you just get going. Now, a person who doesn't have the ambition to start a business, it's fine. Go to your local municipality and volunteer. You don't know what that could lead to.
Yes.
Volunteering, as much as there is no financial gain immediately, there is someone that is bound to give you a little something that is in that department, and you don't know who. I keep saying to people that God helps those who help themselves.
Always. That's what I believe.
You are going to pray every single day. God, please give me a job. God, please give me this. But what are you doing to get there? And then you literally just going to wake up, sit next to Etangwendlo and watch the sun go up and go down, watch people passing by. You can't do that. You have to pray for that, ask for the guidance to whoever. I'm not being pro-Christian here.
Yes.
I'm not being pro ancestral as well. But to whoever you pray to, whatever sustenance you have, you need to look to it, ask for the strength to carry yourself through, the guidance to go forward, and actually get off your bum and do something. Go to your local municipality. Uzoyibona ngoko how you are going to get imali yokhwela. Just show the ambition that you actually want to better yourself. It's literally that. I know there is a lot of hopelessness amongst the youth, hence the high suicide rates.
Yes.
But you also need to surround yourself with people that are good for your spirit. Not friends that are going to be like, no, nzakuvusela 2 beers. No, you need to surround yourself with people that are going to say, hey, I am doing a particular thing, come through. You might meet someone that could...
You never know.
Exactly. You never know. You absolutely never know. So you must also be very cognizant of who you surround yourself with. If you are surrounding yourself... There is a saying that you are the average of the 5 people that you are constantly spending time with. Mm-hmm. So if you are constantly spending time with people that are always discussing other people that are constantly yearning for soft life, but they are not doing anything to acquire that soft life that is ethical and that does not taint their integrity, and with people that are just hopeless, you are bound to become the average of those people. Yes. But if you surround yourself with people of different ages, because I'm a person who's like that, I relate to younger people, I relate to older people. You are bound to learn something from those people. You need to surround yourself with people that speak positively. Yes, auna mali for what you want, but don't constantly preach that namala. No, I don't have money for an iPhone 12, but I do have this 5 rand that is going to buy me a yogetta, and that is going to make me feel better. You just need to learn to be grateful. Yogetta, call me. I am your new influencer. Ad girl. You need to appreciate and be grateful for the little that you have.
Yes.
Because that also fuels you to get more and become more. Surround yourself and listen to allow things that are positive to infiltrate into your mind. If you are constantly watching things that are negative, listening to negative music,
you'll see that works.
You will become that. But if you listen to motivational speeches, if you're not a motivational speaker, watch something that will stimulate your mind, that has a that has a positive message. And man, we can do all the talking in the world, but the decision lays with the people that are receiving this particular message.
Yes. There's a lot we can say.
There's a lot we can say. There's a lot we can do. But all I can say is you need to fight for your own sanity and to fight to get yourself out of hopelessness. No one is going to come and grab you by your shirt and say, I am here to save you. You need to get out of your own way. You need to constantly envision yourself being that awesome person who is acquiring all those materialistic things. But we need to also shift from focusing on materialistic things, but also focus on becoming better people. It's not for everyone to be a person like me who is a balance between an extrovert and an introvert who talks to people. But there are people that work silently to change other people's lives through kindness, through just a smile.
Yes.
That I think is the simplest form of becoming a better person. So yeah, I'm getting emotional now.
Oh, also to add, there is this saying that says, if you hang around a barber shop long enough, you're bound to have a free haircut. So your job is to hang around the barber shop with the people, and then you never know what might happen.
Exactly.